Hi, my name's Mike Rubel, and I like to write things. I like to write letters. I like to write books. As a matter of fact, I wrote a couple of children's books. One of them is The Adventures of Charlie Chipmunk, which is available on booksbyrubel.com. And although this isn't an ad for the book, what I want to talk about is writing from your soul, from your heart, from your mind. And I've written what I call letters from the edge. I have about 30 of them. Many of them reflect things that have occurred in my lifetime, especially younger. I've had several decades of that lifetime to write about, so I guess I could continue on for a number of paragraphs. Some of them are sad, some of them are happy, some of them bring out things in me that I uh, have felt over the years that have affected who I am. So the purpose of this video today and of a subsequent video will be what I call catharsis in writing. Catharsis was used by Aristotle in Grecian times, where he would create exhortations or plays that, in many cases, the main character had some traumatic event occurred to them that destroyed their life or destroyed who they were or had some dramatic effect on them. And by doing so, many of the spectators felt a compassion and a semblance with that person in the play. And by assimilating with them, they bring some event that's traumatic in their lifetime that's been buried deep in their psyche to the forefront. And with that, they can regenerate themselves and renew themselves and perhaps relieve themselves of some of those traumatic events and affect how they are and how they act during their lifetime. Freud used that many times in psychoanalysis, where his patient had some deeply hidden traumatic event that they didn't want to talk about. However, that event affected how they reacted to their family, to their friends, and to just life in general. And by getting that patient to bring that traumatic event to his conscious level, he can then get rid of it or at least acknowledge that it exists and deal with it at a conscious level as opposed to the subconscious where it affects him or them or her in a negative way. So catharsis in writing is a method where you would sit down and write something that happened to you, typically as a young child, growing up and through puberty, where certain events in that time frame affected who you are. All of us have those deep-seated things that have occurred in your life. I do, and I'll go through that in my next session. But basically, most of the children, not most, but a good vast majority of children today grow up in single family or single parent households. Not all of them are rosy. Not all of them are, white picket fences and one car in a garage and a wife that or parent that doesn't need to work. But most cases, that child is left to his own devices. And that's actually one of the elements of my book, Charlie Chipmunk, is he's torn away from his family at an early age in a violent storm and has to learn how to do things on his own. And the thing that he learned the best was to make good friends and good decisions. And so those are things that it occurred in all of our lives is that, especially with young children, they make bad decisions because they make bad friends. And these things, again, create some deep-seated traumatic event. And I know that there are a number of children that have grown up and are subjected to things that are unthinkable, absolutely unthinkable. And they affect them through the rest of their lives. And if you write them down, and be able to express them in words and either show them or share them with your loved ones, your children, your wife, your significant other, or whoever it might be, that helps them understand the deep-seated traumatic events that occurred in your life that create who you are. And by bringing them to the forefront, you can help them understand who you are and can perhaps rid yourself of that traumatic event and make you a better person. That's really what it's all about. Writing, catharsis is the key. I'll go through that in the next session because I have some of my own that I will relate to you. And it affected me. It still does affect me for the rest of my life. But it all affects, everybody has those things that they've buried. I don't care what kind of a childhood you had, whether you're as Ozzie and Harriet, you all have these things that have bothered you over the years. So let's think about writing them down, and we'll go into that in the next session. Thanks again, Mike Rubel. Take care.